Hello and welcome to my channel In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne and this is day 6 of the 12 days of Christmas. It is New Year's Eve today as you are watching this, so Happy New Year's. And I hope that you will be having a wonderful day today, savoring the last day of 2025 as we prepare to head into 2026. Today I want to talk about the series that I am in the middle of. These are all series that I have started within the past couple of years. They're all current series that I am in the middle of. Some of these I am possibly going to be DNFing. I have nearly very clearly almost made up my mind to DNF them. We'll see. Then some of the series I'm current on and plan to stay current on. Some of them I've completely finished, and some of them I need to get caught up, and I intend to get caught up. So we're going to start with the potential DNFs. I'm going to say that with one, possibly two exceptions, these are potential and not indefinite DNFs. But at this point in time, I have no desire to pick up the next book in either of these series and continue reading. So I may at some point, that might change if I hear somebody saying something really positive about it, or if I just, I get the urge to finish up the series, I will. So let's talk about, first of all, the one that's most definite for me, and that is the Thursday Murder Club. I did like the writing in the first one, and I enjoyed the characters. What I didn't like was the cavalier approach to murder on the part of the author, and the way that in that story murders were excused, and kind of the murderers were sort of given a pass, I guess, in a sense, like they weren't, they had a good reason sort of thing. I don't remember exactly how everything played out in the plot and exactly what all of the reasoning was and everything. I just know that it put a bad taste in my mouth. And when I mentioned that, someone said, well, that's honestly the author's approach in most of the books in this series, so you probably won't want to continue the series if that bothers you. So I have no desire to continue the series. There are plenty of murder mysteries out there that are interesting and clever and well written, and I don't particularly need to read those. So that one is a definite DNF for me. The next one that's more or less definite is the Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney murder mystery series by Claudia Gray, which I love the world that it's set in. It's set in the world of Jane Austen and her characters, with some new characters from the next generation. And it's really very well done. They're well written. I disliked some of the characterization of the characters that Austen created. The new characters, she can let her imagination run freely as she wishes to make them what she wants to be. But some of the existing characters that Jane Austen crafted and created, she either portrayed them poorly, I think unintentionally, or she deliberately changed their, I don't know how to say this exactly, but like she deliberately changed their story arc to an extent, or she just tweaked the character in such a way that was no longer recognizable as being one of Jane Austen's characters. So that's one reason. But honestly, that all of that, whatever, is not a huge deal. But that combined with the fact that all of the books, the two books that I had read, were just so long in that series. They were so long. They were way longer than they needed to be for the story that was being told. Far too much detail went into each scene, and it was too much. And I have heard from other people that the other books in this series are very much the same way. And also the newer books in this series that have been written since the last one I read that the overall arching story in the series is also taking a very long time to develop, unnecessarily so. And so I don't have time for that. Like I said, there are plenty of well-written, cozy mysteries set in literary worlds, both Jane Austen's and otherwise, and I will possibly try those. I will read some others. Those I don't necessarily need to. So I don't really have a strong desire to pick up any more in that series. Another one, and this one might shock a lot of people, and that is the If I Run trilogy by Terry Blackstock. I actually read the first two books in that series, but when it came to reading the third one, other things kind of crowded it out of the way. And since then, I haven't really had a desire to finish up the series. And there's not anything big that keeps me from reading it. It's just a lack of interest. I kind of just don't care. And I haven't cared enough to get the third book in the series and make sure I finish it. And so I don't know, maybe I will someday. I haven't yet, and I don't really have a desire to. And the last one this is kind of similar, Children of the Consortium by, I'm sorry, I forget the name of the author, but it is published by Enclave, and it is a Christian sci-fi book. I really enjoyed the first in the series. It was called The Guardian, I think. And it was a very intriguing premise and very well written. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the setting, even though it was very sci-fi, which is not my normal thing. I just haven't bothered to pick up the next one in the series. Again, I think it's a trilogy. And every time I think, okay, that would work for this month, for this TBR, or I should read the next one, or I hear somebody mention it, I'm like, oh yeah, I should read that one. It's not a hard DNF because I think, oh yeah, I should continue that series. But I've also heard from some people that the third book is not as good as the others, which would be disappointing. So I haven't had a strong desire to carry on with that series. So it's not a hard DNF. I just haven't finished it and don't necessarily plan to. So those are those series that I don't necessarily plan to continue. I don't feel a need to continue them. But there are some series that I would like to continue, and I would like to make progress on this year. But before I get to those, let me mention, because I'm very proud of myself, all of the series that I have either got myself up to date on and am current with, or I've completed. And obviously, if I took the time to do that, then I enjoyed them to one extent or another. So consider these as series recommendations if you're looking for a good series to get started on. The first one is the Timeless series. Now, I said I'm completed and up to date. I actually haven't read the most current one, which is Through Each Tomorrow. I do have it downloaded from the Hoopla app, and I've read like the first chapter. So I'm in progress with that one, but I'm considering myself up to date because that was the newest release. It was only released a month or so ago. I will have it read before the next one comes out. So technically up to date on that one. Anyway, the Timeless series is fantastic. If you haven't heard of it yet, it's by Gabrielle Meyer. There are 6-7 books in the series or so, and there are going to be more. And each one is about a character who has a dual timeline in their life. So they're dual timeline stories, but with the same person in both timelines. And so they're called time crossers. And they have to choose at some point which timeline they will stay in. Each character, like there's a couple of different systems where the way these timelines work, the way the time crossing works. And so she explains each one in each book. They're just fascinating. I love the way she examines, compares, and contrasts different types of time periods and things that are happening in those time periods. And it's just really fascinating and interesting and enjoyable, well written. I've really enjoyed every single one in this series so far. The very first one, I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. This is a little out there for me, but I was hooked and I loved it. And I've loved each one since. So that's the Timeless series. Emma M. Lyon series, I cannot rave about this one enough. It is amazing. So far there are 8 books. I've read all of them. They're all journals set in a fictional town in Victorian London, or like a neighborhood in Victorian London. And there's a vague element of almost magical realism in it, but not quite. It's like just kind of like fluttering around on the edges of it. It's really just kind of a great whimsical story about a young woman and the friends that she makes and the choices that she has to make. And there is some depth to it. There's also fantastic humor, quirkiness abounds, and it's all written in journal format. Perfect for epistolary January if you don't have anything picked yet for that. And then the Bells of London series by Mimi Matthews. The second book in that series, I forget what the name of that one is. The second book in that series was 100% my favorite in the whole series. The other ones were pretty good. The last one, the most recent one, I think there's 4 altogether, I didn't love as much as the others, and the second one was far and away my favorite. But they are all still good. Mimi Matthews is a great writer, and they're historical Victorian era romances with some depth to them and excellent character development, something that you can really just like get lost in, like a story you can get lost in. It's very enjoyable. So I've read all of those and I'm current with that series. The On Devonshire Shores series by Julie Klassen, I have also finished. Technically, I still have the novella, the Christmas novella to read, but that is like an adjacent book to the series. And it's primarily a trilogy, and I've read all 3 books in that series. And they're enjoyable. They're not my favorite of Julie Klassen's works. They're not my favorite series of hers. I have enjoyed other books by her much more, but at the same time, I did take the time to read each book and finish the series, so it wasn't horrible either. And then we have The Kindred by Laurie Benton duology. And that one was pretty good. The writing was great. It was a historical setting that was kind of unique. It was the kind of frontier. It was a frontier setting in America, but frontier in the sense it was very early on in colonial America. And so they were like scratching out an existence from the bare earth, basically. One is set in the South on a plantation, and the other one is set in New York. And so there are a lot of issues that go with that as well, with the aspect of slavery and also with Native Americans and relationships with them and settling on the frontier and all of that kind of stuff. There are some real life historic characters that kind of make cameo appearances in the books, but the actual main characters are all fictional. Very well written, and I really enjoyed it. Then I also completely finished rereading the Anne of Green Gables series this year and thoroughly enjoyed that one. Cannot recommend highly enough. If you have never read anything past the Anne of Green Gables book, well, if you've never read Anne of Green Gables, first of all, what are you doing with your life? Just stop what you're doing and read it, okay? Because it's that important. You need to read it, okay? And then you can come back and hear the rest of this. Once you've read Anne of Green Gables, but you haven't read the rest of the series, do take the time to read the rest of the series. Now, a lot of people don't love many of the intervening books in the series because we get less of Anne and more about her children or her neighbors or adjacent storylines, etc., all of that stuff. But you have to read through those to get to the end, to Rilla of Ingleside, and it's just the best. It is one of my favorite books of all time. Anne of Green Gables, Rilla of Ingleside, and the other ones are not exactly a chore to read. They all have their own charm and their own delight to give you. You will laugh, you will cry. It will be a wonderful ride all the way through. So read the Anne of Green Gables series. You won't be sorry. So those are the series that I have completed in the past year. Now, on to the series that I have started within the past year or so, give or take some months. Some of them unknowingly didn't realize I was getting myself into a series. And some of these, I like vaguely kind of want to finish them, but I'm not like making a goal to finish it. But I'm making this video because I want to keep track of all of the series that I've started that I do eventually want to finish, so I can remember them, I can remember the titles, and I can remember to put them on my TBR when appropriate or whenever I'm interested in reading them. So, apologies, by the way, if you hear my son playing video games. I already forewarned him that if he keeps using his voice at the top of his lungs, the whole world is going to hear him. but that has not stopped him. So apparently he doesn't care. Anyways, I recently read My Merry Mistake by Courtney Walsh, and that is actually the third book in a series called Holidays with Heart. And it's about three sisters whose last name is Hart, and it's rom-coms set around holidays. And My Merry Mistake is set at Christmas time, and then there's I think a St. Patrick's Day one and a Valentine's Day one, maybe. So I do want to read those. The other two in this series, Holidays with Heart, My Merry Mistake, I very much enjoyed, and I do generally get along well with Courtney Walsh's writing for the most part, so I will enjoy reading that one. And then, I'm not exactly sure how to say this, Muir Harbor, M-U-I-R. It's set in New England, and I have only read the first book in this series, which I cannot remember. I will put all the information in the description box. I cannot remember the name of the author of the book or the author of the first one. An Autumn something other, Autumn by the Sea maybe? I don't really know. That's the one I'm thinking of, right? Yeah. Yep, that's the one, I'm pretty sure. Melissa Tagg maybe is the author. The first book I really enjoyed. It was very good. And I do want to read the others in the series. I think there may be 3, but I haven't yet. And then there is the Windy City Saga by Jocelyn Green, and that is set in Chicago during the time of the Great Fire. And the first one was really very well done, and it was kind of the book that lingers with you because it's very hard-hitting, it's very emotional, and there's some dramatic scenes in it. And I really enjoyed the first book in this series, so I would like to finish it. There are 1 or 2 more, I think, after the first one. The first one features 2 sisters, and so I think that it just continues on with the same family, if I'm not mistaken. And then the Texas Ever After series by Karen Whittemire. I've read the first 2 in this series, and I know Cloaked in Beauty is another one. I can't remember if there's another one after that or not, but I enjoyed the first 2, and I like Karen Whittemire's writing, but I haven't gotten around to reading the other in this series. Now, these are all, like, they're standalones. You can read them individually, so they don't have to be read in order in the Texas Ever After series, so that's good. But also, she has started an adjacent series, and I have, where'd it go? I have the first book in that one, Once Upon a Time in Texas. Very similar series. This one is To Love a Beast. So obviously a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but set in Texas. So I think a very similar series. I'm not actually sure what the difference is. So I want to start that series, but I also need to finish the other one. Then we have the Emmy Lake Chronicles, which I read the first one, Dear Mrs. Bird, by A.J. Pierce, set in World War II. I think the subsequent books are in post-World War II London, and I'm very much looking forward to reading them. I've heard different things. Some people enjoyed the subsequent books in this series, some people not so much. So some people felt like, the first one was the best, but other people have loved all of them, so I want to read them and give them a try. Maybe if I read the second one and I don't like it at all, I may choose not to continue, but I at least want to read the next one in the series. And I may get to it in Epistolary January, because there is an epistolary element to this series. So if you're looking for a series for Epistolary January, that's a good one, as is the M.M. Lyon series. Then we have Fog Harbor by Nicole Deese. I've read, I think, 2 books in that series, and I think there's 1 more, possibly 2. So I need to read those. Nicole Deese is an excellent writer, and I don't enjoy a lot of contemporary fiction or contemporary romance, but Nicole Deese is one author whose writing is really good, and I enjoy hers. I love the depth that she brings to the story and the characters that she develops. Really good writing, and very emotional stories as well. And then a fun series I started just recently is the Amish Candy Shop Mystery series. Forget the name of the author. Amanda Flowers, maybe? Anyway, it's set in an Amish candy shop in Ohio. It's just little murder mysteries, cozy murder mysteries. And so the first one I read was really fun, with some fun, quirky characters, and nothing too dramatic, nothing too crazy, just a fun read in between other reads. So that is on my radar. My library has them, so I can read them whenever I like. And then I also just started actually it is a new series, the Emma Knightley Mysteries. And technically, I guess I'm caught up with this one as well. There is a Christmas novella, which I haven't read. And then I think that there is another book that will be published soon in this series. I really enjoyed the first one. Murder at Highbury, I think is what it was called. A very good book. It had just the right amount of humor, and I felt like she did a good job maintaining the characters in the story to the extent that is possible if you're not actually Jane Austen. So it was very good. And then, wow, I don't even know what this is. Letters of Enchantment. What even is that? I wrote that down in my notes. Letters of Enchantment. What is that? I'm gonna have to come back to that. I'm gonna have to film a little addendum here. Let me move on and I'll come back to that. The Skymar series by Pepper Basham. I read the first two. The only one I have left is Loyally Luke. I have also read a Christmas novella that is adjacent to that trilogy, which was very good. I really enjoyed. It's a fun series. It's funny. Everybody has very different opinions about each book in the series as to whether they like it or not. And like Positively Penelope, I thought was fun. The first book I really enjoyed. But some people strongly dislike Positively Penelope. Some people strongly dislike Loyally Luke, but then some people Loyally Luke is their favorite one. And some people Positively Penelope is their favorite one. And Authentically Izzy is the first one. Some people, that's their favorite. So each book in the series has their fans. So far, I guess probably I liked Authentically Izzy the best, but Positively Penelope was pretty good too. I think I have a feeling I will like Loyally Luke, but I don't know. I need to read it and find out. And then the Christmas Tree Farm Mysteries by Jacqueline Frost. I read the first one last year. I have the next one out from the library, and I'm sort of hoping to get to it over my Christmas break here. We'll see. That's the 12 Sleighs of Christmas. I don't know how many books are in this series. I think there are quite a few. That Cozy Mystery and then Amish Candy Shop Mystery. I think there are quite a few books in the series. And it's not something like, that you need to read, like binge read all in a row or something and find out what's going to happen. Like there's not an overarching story arc. It's just each book is its own independent mystery and they're all connected because they have the same characters, etc. So there's no rush to finish that one. And then the Sugar Tree Romance by B.R. Goodwin. I read the one that was set at Christmas time called Southern Snow, but she has a book for each season and it's set in the same community of Sugar Tree, Georgia, I think is the setting. It's like a small town, rom-coms, with, lots of fun, a good hunk of cheese there, as a book lover Amanda likes to say, and just all in great fun. I enjoyed the Southern Snow one, and I have another book by her, but it's in a different series, Forget Me Not, I think, but I do also want to at some point finish that series. I think that my sister has the fall one, so I need to borrow that from her. Okay, I'm gonna go look up and see if I can remember what Letters of Enchantment are, and I'll be right back. Okay, I figured it out. Yes, it's the Divine Rivals series, and that is another one that is good for Epistolary January. And I think that I actually would like to read the second one in this series, which the first one is Divine Rivals. The second one, I forget what it's called, but I do want to read the second one because I'm holding on to this first one until I read the second one, but I don't think that it's necessarily a series that I want to keep on hand forever. So I want to read the second one so then I can eliminate this one from my library and do a little bit of inventory management and create some space. So maybe for Epistolary January, even though I didn't necessarily list this in my TBR, it is on my radar as one that I would like to read if I can. I probably can get it from the library. So there you have it, all of the series that I am in the middle of and that I hope to finish, and the series that I'm not too keen on finishing, the series that I will finish up eventually. We'll see. As of this moment, there aren't any series that I want to embark on at the moment that I am aware of, other than I have this one on hand. by Karen Whittemire that I am a little bit itching to read, to be honest. But not necessarily because I want to start that series, but because I want to read that particular book. And other than that, I don't think I have any others that I want to start. Oh my goodness, I just realized. Okay, I'm in the middle of rereading this series. What is the series? What? Okay, there's like no information on here. A Road Before Me was the first book in this series. And I think each of these books probably can stand alone, but this they're all related by the characters. It's set in the same town, and you meet all of the characters in each of the stories. This one is Cast a Road Before Me, and I really remember loving this one. The Road Before Me, Cast a Road Before Me, the one that I read, the first one in the series that I just reread last year, I was very disappointed in my reread of it, and I unhauled it. But I want to read the other two books in this series before I decide if I want to unhaul all of them, or if this book was as good as I remember, if I still want to hang on to it or not. So I do need to reread that series. I've read it before, but I need to reread it and see if I remember it. If it's as fond, if I enjoy it as much as I remember enjoying it. There we go. So that is all my series that I am in the middle of. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these series and if you've liked them or not, and which ones you think that I should prioritize. And tell me how you feel about reading a series. I'm actually, contrary to what it sounds like in this video, I'm not a big series reader. I don't really love series that go on forever and ever. It's not my favorite thing, but clearly I've gotten myself caught up in quite a few. So it happens without even trying. Anyways, let's chat in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh yeah, tomorrow. What is happening tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm going to be sharing with you my update on my 50 by 50 plan, project, personal project, reading challenge, whatever you want to call it, that I started last year. I'll give you an update on how that's going and how much of it I've read, and if I'm going to manage to finish it before I turn 50. We'll see how that's going. That's tomorrow. See you then. Bye.